Yeah, this is the last day of the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Not the last day of the 60-day reading challenge, but yeah. So before I get started, let me just check that whether this video is going live or not, because that's important, right? Yeah, this video is live. I can see. So this is the day 37, guys, of 60-day reading challenge. And we are going to read the chapter 9 today, which is the last chapter of this book. And today's reading is almost will be like if we compare to it, it's the smallest session it will be. So let's see what we can do, because we can't really just always read. We need to take some breaks sometime as well if you want to take breaks. So let me just check. So everything is good. It's live streaming everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. So wherever you're listening to me, thank you so much, and let's play some music. I hope that will be fine. Okay. So the music is on here, and let's just start reading. I think it's not that much. If you really want to just see that how many pages that we're going to read today, do not smile at me. It's 19 pages that we're going to read today, guys. Not that much. Not even 20 pages. It's just 19 pages, and all of the things on this chapter is like a story. Because as you can see that the chapter name is like "And Then You Die." This book talks about a death, not in depth, but if you really want to read books related to the death, there is a very nice book by Sadhguru, which is, the book name is Death. So I highly recommend that you read that book. And because this chapter is a little bit of abstract, I would say, because if you just read this chapter, there will be a lot of questions in your mind, and you may feel that okay, he's talking shit, but it's not really possible to go in depth in this book, because this book is not about death, so it's just scratch the surface here. But if you have if you really want to read books related to the death, I will be giving a link on the description of this video, so you can just check this out when the live stream is over, right? So yeah, let me just read today then. Here is a nice thing that I really like, because in this story, actually, it's not really a story. It's a real thing that happened to the Mark Manson when his friend Josh was died, because he jumped off from a cliff while he was drunk. So here's the thing. He got into the depression, and he used to see dreams of his friend Josh. So one of these dreams, Josh said that, when he asked that, when he said that, why do you care that I am dead when you're still so afraid to live? And then that's when the Mark Mason actually woke up crying, and because he was like almost 18 years old at that time, and it's not like that he was in this teenage, so it's obvious, right? Okay, anyways, so here is the thing that, I came to the startling realization that if there really is no reason to do anything, then there is also no reason to not do anything, right? That in the face of the inevitability of death, there is no reason to ever give in to one's fear or embarrassment or shame, since it's all just a bunch of nothing anyway. And that by spending the majority of my short life avoiding what was painful and uncomfortable, I had essentially been avoiding being alive at all. Right? So it's a way of thinking life. If you just read this, because I'm honestly speaking, guys, this chapter is very, very, very good. I would say this is the best chapter of this book, but this is very small to actually, pull off this. I would say, take people to his Mark Manson's side, because it's not in depth, and it is not really some, backed up with data and statistics and stories. But here's the thing. But the thing is that he's talking about that nothing. It's all nothing. Whatever we achieve, uh, whatever we go for, it's nothing, and also it's everything, right? So that's beautiful. Just let me read this. I hope if you get it, that's fine. If you don't, there is no problem, because this is a separate topic to discuss too. He's saying that why we give into some fear, embarrassment, shame, where that it's just a bunch of nothing. At the end of the day, we're going to just die, right? Here's the thing, right? So yeah. Here's a very nice thing. I don't know whether you will agree with it or not, but I don't think there is nothing wrong with this. It says that death scares us, and it's obvious, right? And because it scares us, we avoid thinking about it, talking about it, sometimes even acknowledging it, even when it's happening to someone close to us. Yet, in a bizarre, backwards way, death is the light by which the shadow of all of life's meaning is measured. Without death, everything would feel inconsequential, all experience arbitrary, all metrics and values suddenly zero. So if there is no death, we can't really measure our life with this meaning, right? Because we have this limited amount of time to live in this earth, to do something, better for ourselves, for our society, right? This is the thing, this is the inevitable truth, but sometimes we just don't really acknowledge it even sometimes, right? So here he talks about the about Becker. He was this guy from California. So he was like the academic outcast. So he got PhD from anthropology, right? So there was a guy, and he wanted to do a lot of things because in life. But the thing is that he got colon cancer, and he died in 1974. Before he died, he wrote the book called the Denial of Death, and it also won the Pulitzer Prize, and it like shake the market of this, psychology and anthropology, right? So this book talks about some points, which is I'm going to verbalize from this book as it is, right? So it says that humans are unique in that we are only animals that can conceptualize and think about ourselves abstractly. Dogs don't sit around and worry about their career. Cats don't think about their past mistakes or wonder what would have happened if they would done something differently. Monkeys don't argue over future possibilities. Just as fish don't sit around wondering if other fish would like them more if they had longer fins. As humans, we are blessed with the ability to imagine ourselves in hypothetical situations, to contemplate both the past and the future, to imagine other realities or situations where things might be different. And it's because of this unique mental ability, Becker says, that we all at some point become aware of the inevitability of our own death. Because we are able to conceptualize alternate versions of reality, we are also the only animal capable of imagining a reality without ourselves in it, right? We can sometimes think that okay, death is a reality, but we are not in it. Okay, this is not going to happen to us. This is for everyone else. We can create this reality as well for ourselves. So this realization causes what Becker calls death terror, a deep existential anxiety that underlies everything we think or do. So everything we think about and do, it's basically has this death terror that we are actually afraid of it, right? And that's why we don't imagine ourselves in it. We think that okay, it's for everyone but not for us, right? That's the problem, right? Then the number 2 point is like Becker's second point starts with the premise that we essentially have two selves. The first self is the physical self, the one that eats, sleeps, snores and poops, The second self is our conceptual self, our identity or how we see ourselves. So these are the two selves. Becker argument is this: we are all aware on some level that our physical self will eventually die, that this death is inevitable, and that is inevitability on some conscious level scares the shit out of us. Therefore, in order to compensate for our fear of the inevitable loss of our physical self, we try to construct a conceptual self that will live forever. So we, create this conceptual reality or conceptual self that will like live forever in this world, right? This is not going, he or she is not going to die. Okay. Therefore, in order to this is why people try so hard to put their names on buildings, on statues, on spines of books. It's why we feel compelled to spend so much time giving ourselves to others, especially to children, in the hopes that our influence, our conceptual self, will last way beyond our physical self. That's why we do all this kind of thing, like our name, put our name on the in the building, put our name on the statues and everything. And we do it with the children as well, because children can carry our names forward and they can be influenced, and they can be influenced by us. So that's our conceptual self that will live actually even beyond our lifespan, right? Will last way beyond our physical self, that we will be remembered and revered and idolized long after our physical self ceases to exist, right? This is amazing. Like Becker called such efforts our immortality projects. These are immortality projects that allow our conceptual self to live on way past the point of our physical death. All of human civilization, he says, is basically a result of immortality projects. The cities and governments and structures and authorities in place today were all immortality projects of men and women came before us. They are the remnants of conceptual selves that cease to die. So all the things that we have, like cities and everything, the civilization actually grows. It really, because of this conceptual self. Because think about all those people, even if you think about it, all of these people that has done this, they want that influence to other people who actually will live after they die, right? So they have done all of these great things in this world, so we can be influenced by them and carry on their legacy. And their conceptual self actually is still living. If you just check this, a lot of street has this name, a lot of statues has been built by some people, which is actually carry someone else's legacy. That's the reason, right? That's the conceptual self is actually obviously always living. It doesn't really matter that they had died like 200-300 years ago, but we still remember those people. Names like Jesus, Muhammad, Napoleon and Shakespeare are just as powerful as today when those men lived, right? If not more so. And that's the whole point. Whether it be through mastering an art form, conquering a new land, gaining great riches, or simply having a large and loving family that will live on for generations, all the meaning in our life is shaped by this innate desire to never truly die. I'm going to read this line again. I just get this goosebumps when I read this. Even I'm getting this right now. It says that all the meaning in our life is shaped by this innate desire to never truly die. So all the things that is actually meant for us is actually we want to carry on this desire to like never truly die. Okay. It's equivalent for us, and it's equivalent to even our parents as well. Even if your parents are loving, they want they want this influence on you that okay, parents can be so much loving as well. So they're still living on you, right? Even if they die someday, you will carry this love for them, and you will just talk about them with your friends, with your family, right? And the family will carry on this legacy, right? So it's all about this. Okay, religion, politics, sports, art, and technological innovations are the result of people's immortality projects. Becker argues that wars and revolutions and mass murder occurs when one group of people's immortality projects rub up against another group's. Centuries of oppression and the bloodshed of millions have been justified as the defense of one group's immortality project against another's. But when our immortality projects fail, when the measure meaning is lost, when the prospect of our conceptual self outliving our physical self no longer seems possible or likely, death terror, that horrible depressing anxiety creeps back into our mind. Trauma can cause this, and as can shame and social ridicule, as can Becker points out mental illness. So here's the thing, so let me just give me some break, guys. I'll be back. Guys, I'm back here again, and okay, let me just read this. So here's the thing, if you haven't figured it out yet, our immortality projects are our values. So these are the values that we want that live on forever. These are actually our immortality values, immortality projects. So we want whatever we feel, whatever we think, that they should live forever. So we have this as a human being, and they are the barometers of meaning and worth in our life. So, and when our values fail, so do we, psychologically speaking. What Becker is saying in essence is that we are all driven by fear to give away too many fucks about something, because giving a fuck about something is the only thing that distracts us from the reality and inevitability of our own death. And to truly not give a single fuck is to achieve a quasi-spiritual state of embracing the impermanence of one's own existence. In that state, one is far less likely to get caught up in various forms of entitlement. Here I really want to read this line. And to truly not give a single fuck is to achieve a quasi-spiritual state of embracing the impermanence of one's own existence. So we need to embrace that, okay, we're not permanent in this world. We are going to go, we're going to die at some point. So yeah, that will actually, we will caught up with the entitlement very less if we just think that, okay, we are not here for the for our whole lifetime. Okay, Becker later came to a startling realization on his deathbed that people's immortality projects were actually the problem, not the solution. But that rather than attempting to implement, often through lethal force, their conceptual self across the world, people should caution their conceptual and self and become more comfortable with the reality of their own death. Becker called this the bitter antidote and struggled with reconciling it himself as he stared down his own demise. While death is bad, it is inevitable, right? Therefore, we should not avoid this realization, but rather come to terms with it as best as we can. Because once we become comfortable with the fact of our own death, the root terror, the underlying anxiety motivating all of life's frivolous ambitions, we can then choose our values more freely, unrestrained by illogical quest for immortality and freed from dangerous dogmatic views. So he's saying that once we know that death is inevitable, it is going to come to us at certain point in time, the that the root terror, that the terror that we have, the underlying anxiety motivating like all of the ambitions that we have contain, right? If these things actually goes aside, and we can choose better values for ourselves. So he's saying this one, because we can choose our values more freely, because otherwise we get this horse vision that okay, uh, we are like inevitable, the death is like inevitable. If we think that okay, we need to live on forever with our conceptual self, that creates a problem, it says, right? I don't know, because I don't really get this much. The reason is that this is a little bit of philosophical, and I haven't exposed myself, I would say, with lots of like philosophical books or anything like that. But I will highly recommend that if you just give your views on it. What do you think about it, right? The Sunny Side of Death. Okay, that's a great name. Here is a great line by Mark Twain. I hope you have listened to this name. That Mark Twain says that the fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. This has like so much profound impact on me when I read this. I was like, okay, wow. This guy is saying something which is so simple, but yet we really don't can't really acknowledge or understand this. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. Actually, a man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. Beautiful, right? Here I like this, this sentence. Let me just read this. Confronting the reality of our own mortality is important because it obliterates all the crappy, fragile, superficial values in life. While most people whittle their days chasing another buck, or a little bit more fame and attention, or a little bit more assurance that they are right or loved, death confronts all of us with a far more painful and important question: what is your legacy? That's really important, right? So here is one, but I'm going to take a break for 2 minutes. talk about a really nice thing that I read. Okay, so let me just read this where it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not this one. Okay, let me just read and I'll tell you that what I was thinking. I was something, thinking something at that point in time, which I don't remember much. I will be back to it. So just let me read this. Here, I really like one thing that this says that the pampering of the modern mind has resulted in a population that feels deserving of something without earning that something. I quite believe that a population that feels they have a right to something without sacrificing for it. People declare themselves experts, entrepreneurs, inventors, innovators, mavericks, and coaches without any real life experience. Uh, and they do this not because they actually think they are greater than everybody else. They do it because they feel that they need to be great to be accepted in a world that broadcasts only the extraordinary, right? A lot of people actually has this, honestly speaking, guys, I also had this feeling, but this just creates this vogue and anxiety, I would say. It does not really help you to do anything special in life, I honestly speak. uh, Maybe it works for some people, but it creates some voidness in me. I don't know about others. I'm not talking about others. I'm talking about myself. So let me know that what do you think about it. What do you feel that, okay, if you just pretend to be like someone, if you pretend to be great, that okay, I'm great at this something, and you think that okay, you will figure it out later, how it actually impacts you. I really want to know this, because it does not impact me very good, well, because I have this kind of like anxiety if I think about it like this way. Yeah, that's for me. So just let me know that what do you think about it, right? Yeah. Our culture today confuses great attention and great success, assuming them to be the same thing, but they are not. You are great already, whether you realize it or not, whether anybody else realizes it or not. And it's not because you launched an iPhone app, or finished school a year early, or bought yourself a sweetest boat. These things do not define greatness. You are already great because, in the face of endless confusion and certain death, you continue to choose what to give a fuck about and what not to. This mere fact, this simple optioning for your own values in life, already makes you beautiful, already makes you successful, and already makes you loved. Even if you don't realize it, even if you're sleeping in a gutter and starving, you are too going to die, and that's because you too were fortunate enough to have lived. You may not feel this, but go stand on a cliff sometime and maybe you will. Bukowski once wrote, the guy, Bukowski, the first guy that he has mentioned in this book. I really was like, hi Bukowski, I just wanted to meet you, but you died. Okay. So we are all going to die, all of us. What a circus. That alone should make us love each other, but it does not. We are terrorized and flattened by life's trivialities. We are eaten up by nothing. That's true, that's true. I have no doubt about it. If you have doubt, just let me know why you have this doubt, because I don't see any clue, because sometimes we don't see another perspective. So it's really important for me to like look for other perspectives as well. So it says that we are all going to die, all of us. What a circus. That alone should make us love each other. But it does not. We are terrorized and flattened by life's trivialities, and we are eaten up by nothing. Mark Manson actually always remind himself about the death, like through meditation, reading philosophy, and putting himself in a situation where death is nearby, like standing on a cliff. So here he talks about an incident. I'm going to read it because this is soothing and beautiful. I really like this kind of thing when this kind of things really happens in the book. I think these are the things that I really enjoy in the book. I'm still discovering myself that what are the kind of books and what are the kind of situations in a book that I really like much, because these are the things that make you. This is always unique to you. Some people may like a different kind of combination of books. For me, it's like I like mythology and non-fiction, which is kind of weird combination. I don't know, but I like mythology and non-fiction. And yeah, yeah, when it comes to fiction, I can't really see anything more than the mythology. I think, like, okay, if I want to read fiction, that will be a mythology. I have this love for it. This is kind of like weird combination, but I also love a lot of non-fictions as well. But yeah, here's the thing. So this is me. I'm actually exploring. It's not like that I am not open to new books or new understanding of books. Yesterday I have purchased this book called The Sapiens, and I am really excited to read that book, because it's not like that a lot of people are talking about that book, because before I buy this book, I really go in depth on the research that what is the price of the book, so I can really put that in, and I can make better judgment in this. So it's really helpful, I think. Okay, so yeah, there was an incident with Mark Manson. So I'm just going to read this. I'd sit there on the cave for a few minutes, taking in everything. When I finally decide to get up, I put my hands behind me and scoot back. Then I slowly stand. I check the ground around me, making sure there is no errant rock ready to sabotage me. Having recognized that I am safe, I begin to walk back to reality. 5 feet, 10 feet, my body restoring itself with each step. My feet become lighter. I let life's magnet draw me in. As I step back over some rocks, back to the main path, I look up to see a man staring at me. I stop and make eye contact with him. I saw you sitting on the edge over there, he says. His accent was Australian. The word there, uh, the word there rolls out of his mouth awkwardly. He points toward Antarctica. Yeah, the view is gorgeous, isn't it? I'm smiling. He's not. He's a serious look on his face. I brush my hands off my shorts, my body still buzzing from my surrender. There is an awkward silence. The Aussie stands for a moment, perplexed, still looking at me, clearly thinking of what to say next. After a moment, he carefully pieces the word together. Is everything okay? How are you feeling? I pause for a moment, still smiling. Alive. Very alive. His skepticism breaks and reveals a smile in its place. He gives a slight nod and heads down the trail. I stand above, taking in the view, waiting for my friends to arrive on the peak. So beautiful, so beautiful. I just really want to be there, like, for a moment. He described this, is this scenarios in this, especially at the last chapter. It was like a fiction. The last chapter is talks about death, but he described, displayed it like a fiction. And whenever a book, non-fiction book, I saw that a non-fiction book is turning to fiction. When I read this book, let me tell you guys, comes to the point. Let me comes to the point directly. When I was reading this book, I was only reading non-fiction. I haven't exposed myself at that time to any fiction book. But when I read this chapter, I have found a different thing on me, because he described this chapter like a fiction book. That is, maybe the stories are real. I'm saying maybe because it's the author's reality, right? We can't really say. I'm not saying it's not real or not real. I'm not saying anything else. But the thing is that he wrote it like a very fictional way, and so that's why I really like this. I don't know what really happened to my camera. I hope that will be back. But here's the thing. So I really like this, and so yeah, I don't know what's really happening, why it's flashing on me. Anyways, so that gives me this, that takes me to a different kind of world for a little bit of moment. I'm not saying that it's really the fiction. It's because it's not really was a 100% fiction, but yeah, I just quite like this. So yeah, with that we have come to the end of these of today's session. Just let me just check that what really happens to my phone, because I don't know what really happened. I will be back, so let me just give me some time, that give me some 1 minute, maybe I will be back. So let me just check what really happened. Anyways guys, we are back again. I don't know why this happens. I need to really complain to the developer of this application that I use, like Droidcam OBS. If you're thinking about this, what is the application that I do use to on my phone, and then this is, I use the camera. So if you really want just want to do the same setup, you can just message me. I'll tell you. There's not really any rocket science or anything like that. It's just at 5 minutes it will take for the first day, and for next day it will take like 30 seconds to set this up. Anyways, with that we have come to the end of this beautiful book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. A lot of people don't really like this book, but we're not in this argument that why people should like this book and why people should not. But I really like 1, 2, 3 things from this from this book. Like the backwards law is really important, and the things that he talk about death is really has profound impact on me, because he did not go into the in depth, but I really want I really like this thing that how he talks about the death. And another thing that he talks about, like he tells that to accept anything and everything, like pain is also good for us, the value of suffering. This chapter, actually I don't know how it magically comes up, but I actually wanted to talk about this. The thing is that we should accept our pain, we should accept our suffering, because if we can't really accept that, there will be no scope for improvement, right? The moment we accept that, okay, we are not really the perfect people, we are not really the we are not really like, okay, achieved everything. If we have this understanding and we are open to read, listen to others perspective as well, that will create the profound impact on us as well as the society as well. So it's really important that you understand others perspective. And with that, we have come to the end of this book, and that is, I think it's day 37, right? Okay, we have read for like 37 days without any gap. That's the power of these reading challenges, guys. If you're reading with me, I'm really grateful that you're doing it, and because you have chosen to read. And honestly speaking, you can use this session not for the reading only, you can use this session for doing other stuffs as well, because think of me as a friend that who is reading with you, and you're doing something. Maybe you're building your website, maybe you're building your Instagram page or anything like that. Maybe you're designing something, maybe you're making something ready for your client for the next freelance project. Maybe maybe you're going to different kind of clients, and maybe you're researching something. You can use this video for each and everything. I don't care what you do, but I'm here with you. I'm going to read. I'm not going to stop here. This is the 60-day reading challenge. We may extend it if we want, because see, here's the thing. Why I did not say that it's not really a 90-day reading challenge, because I don't want to overwhelm myself. Because if I say that, okay, it's a 90-day reading challenge, I will think like, okay, I need to go for like 2 months. But here it's like, okay, I have completed 1 month, I need to just complete another month only. Okay, and also what I'm doing, I'm reading. I'm not doing something that's really uncomfortable for me or anything like that. It's a reading, right? Reading is something I really liked. But with that 30-day reading challenge, after I complete the 30-day reading challenge, I thought that, okay, let's make this 60-day reading challenge. And honestly, guys, recently I have this realization that I wanted to make YouTube videos for quite a long period of time, but I just could not. Honestly speaking, guys, I get up with all the motivation and all this thing that I will be writing something and just shoot the video. Honestly, guys, I have content, but I can't really put it out. The reason is that I'm not doing anything, I'm not taking action. With the book, that's really happened as well, because when I started this 30-day reading challenge, before that, as you have know already, I have also told it on the social media accounts of mine as well, that I was trying to finish one single book for 1.5 months, but I could not. Then I saw that, okay, I need to discipline myself. That's why I have started this 30-day reading challenge, and then we have extended to like 60-day reading challenge. And I really enjoy this, guys. Thank you so much if you're still with me. And I was thinking about like making 30 videos challenge or something like that, because to discipline myself. I'm not sure, because I haven't decided in my mind, because this is going on my mind for a long period of time. I don't want to think it over too much, otherwise I will not do it. I'm sure about this, but I will do some brainstorming and come up with a lot of videos maybe. Just stay tuned with me. On Instagram I am very active, guys, these days. So if you really want to just check out that what I'm doing, you can just check out my Instagram, that what I'm doing. Okay, so thank you so much again, guys, for sticking with me. And what will be the next book for tomorrow? That's a surprise that I always give on my Instagram, and with the chapter distribution, that this is the book that I'm going to read. So if you really want to know all of this, just follow me on Instagram, and you can just do this on the Facebook as well, because in Facebook I really dump each and everything. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can, because I may start making a lot of videos in my YouTube channel. And I'm going to I'm not going to stress over perfection. I'm going to stress over the content that I will be putting out. So yeah, that I'll be focusing on, because I do procrastinate with the name of perfection. So yeah, in the Facebook I dump each and everything. So wherever you are active, just follow me. You will get the news that what I'll be reading. So thank you so much again for tuning in. Have a